you into the conversation. Rick's been in and out of the wedding industry, mostly in, even though he wants out sometimes, we pull him back in, since 1992. And he's worked with hundreds of brides over the years, 2,000 different wedding vendors, including Colleen, spoken to thousands of wedding professionals coast to coast, and authored 7 Steps to a Stress-Free Wedding. A couple of magazines that he's published, a couple of wedding websites, Professional Photographers Association of Bridal Consultants, worked with ADJA, all kinds of stuff. He's also the author of Get More Brides Business Success Kit, and has produced numerous bridal shows. So he's also been featured on Fox, ABC, tons of newspapers, all kinds of stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Rick, and I'm going to go ahead and spotlight your video, Rick, so you're the highlight. Thank you.
Great.
Take it away.
So thank you, everybody, for taking the time out here, and let's just have a chat. As I told Kyle, I didn't want to prepare a formal presentation for this as much as I wanted to have more of a discussion and back and forth. About 3 years ago, I had to relinquish most of my role as far as going on. I used to speak all over. I've spoken to somewhere around 275 different associations around the country, used to live at the airport, and did a lot of speaking, and I loved every minute of it. And I think I spoke for yours a couple times, your association a couple times up there, Kyle, is that
Yep,
right?
you have.
Yeah. And so, and long story short, about 3 years ago, I ended up, I had most custody of my kids, but I became full-time dad to 3 kids, to my 3 kids. And so I had to stop traveling, had to sleep in my own bed every night. And at that time, I had to still maintain an income, whereas my marketing that I was doing was the speaking. And so based on that, I had to maintain an income because I couldn't really market like I had been marketing and still pull in the same income. And I took a position with a company called Haibu. Haibu is a digital media firm. And in that role, I become the market manager, and candidly have learned a lot more about digital marketing than I ever thought was possible. Now, give you a little bit of background. I did my first Google AdWords in 2002. And you probably understand that Google was only born in 1998. So the world has changed around us as far as what's going on marketing-wise. But I'm not here to sell my services today as much as I am maybe answer some questions or just talk about what's happening, because it's interesting. Every time I seem to open up a newsletter or an email that's an informational based email, it talks about uncertain times. And I thought, as much as they say that it could become a drinking game, but the problem with that is we'd all become alcoholics by the time the shutdown is over. And we don't know what's going on here. During 9/11, I owned my own business, and it was scary because of the fact that I lost a lot of customers that week. During 2008, I owned my own business, and it was scary because of the fact that people hold back all their marketing. And this is scary because of the fact that we don't know what shutting down the country for 3 months is going to be like, what the long-term ramifications of it are going to be. But I did a similar webinar earlier for the local builders association, and I wrote down some notes, and I wanted to share those with you today. And first and foremost, I want to help you understand that when you squeeze an orange, you get what's inside of it. And so you get the orange juice. And right now what's happening is we're being squeezed. And what you're seeing out there is you're seeing a lot of good people doing a lot of good things. You're seeing some angry, some frustrated, some scared people as well. But mostly you're seeing a lot of good things happening out there. And because you're seeing so many good things out there, that's where I want to stay with today. I want to stay with the positive. Don't want to talk about politics or who's to blame for this or anything like that. I just want to, it is what it is. And candidly, we're going to go through this. So we can go through with some hope that all will work out, or we can go through with anxiety, fear, and stress, and we're still going to go through it. So my theory is, let's go through with some hope, and let's find the good things that are happening out there. So I've got 5 points I'd like to make, and you're welcome to write these down. But number one point, and this is probably foremost, don't hide your business. There's some people that they build a great product, a great service, and it's almost as though they go out of their way to hide it, and that they go out of their way to not let it be known. When I would speak, I would ask this question: what's your number one source of marketing? Inevitably, somebody would say word of mouth. And you're not going to get arguments from me that word of mouth is a great form of marketing. But right now, people are not referring like they used to, or you're still missing out. And I just pulled a couple of numbers, very simple numbers for the Bakersfield area. Just simply, I want you to tell me how many, or just look at how many people you've got on your Facebook group. Kyle, how many do you have on your Facebook group right now? Did I lose you, Kyle?
Okay, there we go. I just was off the screen. For some reason, I couldn't get the mute to come off. Anyways, our Bridal Association page has not sure the exact numbers, but it's over 5,000.
Okay,
but
great.
You know, that's the association versus some of the individual businesses. Maybe Colleen can talk to that, or Alicio can. Any of them can actually tell you what they have on their business pages.
Well, if you were to look at what is available, people who are regularly on Facebook social media within a 20-mile radius of Bakersfield, it came up to 1.2 million people. And now, not all of those people are going to be potential wedding or event clients for you, but it's a lot bigger vertical to go after than is the 20, than the 2,000 rather, or you've got 5,000, Colleen. God bless you. Wonderful job. And not that that's bad. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of people out there that simply don't know about you. So pulling back your marketing right now because times are rough or because you're scared, there's some that I would recommend that you would pull back. Anything that's immediate marketing, like TV, radio, and billboard. People aren't out driving around right now, so billboards are really not that effective. And this is nothing against billboard, TV, or radio, because of the fact that if you put a picture of me that I didn't like up on a billboard, I probably wouldn't care that you did that. It would probably upset me that you did that. It would upset me if you said bad things about me on TV, and it would upset me if you were saying bad things about me on the radio. In other words, it does have reach. What I'm talking to specifically, though, is that right now in this day and age, with the way that electronics are, with data collection, we carry these bad boys with us everywhere. This is the most personal thing that you will ever have. We carry these into the bathroom with us. We take them to bed with us. And we can't say that about much. So, I mean, simply said, those are the most personal devices. That data is collected. It knows when you pull up to a high-end pet store. It knows when you go into a restaurant. It knows when you go in where you're traveling to. It knows a lot. And there's so much mobile data aggregated that we can pinpoint the perfect client for you. And based on that, again, there are methods and there's methodologies in getting out there. Here's something else I want you to do. Everybody that has your cell phone that's not on the cell phone for the Zoom call, I want you to pull it up right now. And if you would, please, I'm going to do it at the same time. Everybody Google fairy godmothers in Bakersfield. While we're doing this, everybody play. And I want to show you a technique that we can do while we're down. I mean, we can help each other. And again, nice goes a long way. And as I was mentioning earlier, to be positive, once you pull that up, I pulled it up here. You can't really see that. Sorry. I got my cool background there. But now, as you'll see, the Google My Business listing for them, it shows that they've got a 4.9 rating with 29 raters. Let's see if we can't get that up a couple more. Everybody click on the reviews button, and then you pull down a little bit where it says rate and review. Click the 5 stars because Colleen is excellent and awesome. And then you can make wedding planner highly recommend. Make a post, and there you go. You got one more now. So you're up to 30, and let's hope that a couple more of you did that. If we did things like that on a regular basis to where we're sharing reviews like that, and simply put, the way that Google's algorithms work is they trust a couple different sources. One of them is consumer reviews. And because they trust the consumer reviews like that, the more 5 stars reviews that they have, then the better off they'll get. If you don't have your phones with you, go do it later on. Is there anybody else that we can do a quick example of how well this works? Give me somebody else type the name of their business into the
So
chat.
I'll share mine just to show you. I appreciate reviews, but I don't necessarily need you guys to do those. Bakersfield Casino Rentals. That one, I'm going to share with you a technique that I use. And unfortunately, it's not really something that everybody can use. If you can figure out a way to incorporate it without being cheesy or over the top, what I do with the casino rentals is when we're out at an event. So let's say we're at a birthday party, as an example. Okay. Like a casino, there's always incentives to gamble. And what we do is we give everybody a certain amount of money when they come into the event. During the event, while they're excited and intoxicated and having a good time and just in the moment, we have the opportunity for them to get more funny money, more chips. So if you review us on Google, we're going to pay you $100 in chips. If you do it on Facebook, it's another 100. If you do it on Yelp, it's another 100. So, but if you do all 3, we're going to bonus that up to $500 in chips. We have gotten quite a few reviews. I haven't pulled it up yet, but have you, Rick, or did somebody else pulled it up and seen how many?
15 reviews right now.
How many?
215, but for some reason, Google's not letting me post another one.
Okay. So yeah, and Colleen shows 215. So, and what we do to make them unique and different so that everybody's not putting the same thing, just doing 5 stars and no review, is I then turn around and I incentivize my dealers. Whoever gets the most reviews at the end of the night is going to get a $25 bonus, cash bonus. So if you read the reviews, it's a review of the dealer. Oh, Taylor was a great blackjack dealer, or Brian did an awesome job, won tons of money. So they're all being a little bit unique and different, and they're mentioning their dealers by name. And Facebook's about the same number of reviews. Yelp is a lot more difficult, but we have Yelp reviews. So that's how I do it for the casino business. I'm not sure, and maybe you guys can have some insight on how to do that with the the wedding industry. It's a little hard to stand up at a wedding saying, hey, if you review us, I'll give you an extra hour. You can't really do that, but that sounds a little cheesy. But in the casino business, it worked. So anyway.
Well, and candidly, may I suggest that the number one reason why we don't have reviews is we don't put a system in place for reviews. I've actually developed emails for clients to where it has those 5 stars on there that they can put this on MailChimp, and then they can automate the system. When you automate your systems, it's going to make your systems a lot more functional, and they're going to make them a lot more efficient. But what I would do is if they clicked on the 5th star, it goes straight to your Google My Business. If it clicked on 4 star, it goes to your Facebook, because Facebook doesn't they just do a random thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay. And then they have to leave a little note about it. 4 stars is going to leave a good note. If it's 3 stars or below, it goes to a page within the site, because of the fact that it makes them feel like they got it off their chest to make a review that listen, you're going to get trolls out there, and you're going to get some people that we have a travel agent here, Leland.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate this story. One of my travel agent clients actually had a couple that they went on their honeymoon and it rained the whole time. And they left the honeymoon people a 1-star rating. They said, so-and-so and so-and-so were great, but we had such bad weather that we couldn't enjoy the resort. It was bumpy flight over there, blah, blah, blah. But they were great. They helped us out with everything. They even sent us a bottle of champagne. They can't help the freaking weather, but what are they supposed to do? So, so long story short, you can't help the trolls. The best way to beat the trolls is to get more ratings. Google goes off of 2 factors on the ratings: the number of rankings and the quality of the rankings. So high, big numbers like that, and again, they don't ask for proof that you did business together. They just want ratings. And so get your family, get your friends, get your kids' friends, get anybody that you can that will give you a 5-star rating. Anybody that has their phone with them is typically signed into their Google account. So, all right. So number 1 is don't hide. Number 2, make sure that all of your stuff on your website currently reflects what's going on with COVID. If you're not doing business right now, make sure that your website reflects it, or how you want them communicating with you. Typically, if you just put something on the front page of your website, that is great. You don't have to adjust your Google My Business, because there was a flood of people that were going through trying to adjust the Google My Business to the point to where Google got overwhelmed with it. And they just said, enough, we're just going to put a blanket statement on everybody that said that essentially says that these hours might be affected. And you might have seen that when you looked up Colleen's or Kyle's listings. So number 3, now's the time to adjust. If there's something different you want to do with your business and you've got some downtime, go ahead and do it now. If you want to rebuild your site, do it now, because of the fact that there's not going to be a much better time. What I suspect, especially in the wedding industry, in Bakersfield, your prime months are April, May, September, October. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So you're kind of missing out on April, and you might catch it by the end of May. I don't know if Governor Newsom has given a prediction that he'll release gatherings by the end of May. Yes, no?
Sorry, Rick, ask the question again.
It's not clear yet. We haven't received it.
Say the question again, please.
Has Governor Newsom given any indication of when he's going to release more public gatherings to where events like a wedding can occur? Not yet.
Not officially, no. The rumors are around mid to late May. That's the rumors, but there's no official announcement yet.
I heard June 1 is basically when they're going to release everything, which is why they canceled school, because school ends June 1.
Okay.
I was told Los Angeles just moved theirs out to May 15th is when they're going to allow people back.
Oh, wow. That's
colleges canceled even fall. It means that's possible that even colleges doesn't start in fall as well.
Well, in just FYI, I'm in far eastern Tennessee. For those of you who follow NASCAR, I'm about 20 minutes from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And in our county, we had 3 cases of COVID, and today was the first time that the health department started putting on the website how many people were recovered. So 2 of the 3 were recovered. And we have one of the biggest counties in Tennessee. And our county having 2 cases and is quite surprising the way that the people act here, because there's the social distancing out the window. You go to Walmart and it's just as busy as it is any other day of the week, with or without COVID. But so things are starting to loosen up here somewhat. But California, I understand, is much more severe and it's much more serious there. So take the time to make the adjustments that you normally might have put on the back burner. Google recommends that you change your website every 2 years, kind of like your iPhone. You got to get the new and upgraded version of it every 3-4 years or so. Do the same with your website. And the one thing that I would probably guarantee that 95% of you do not have on your website is artificial intelligence. That you don't have the right coding for it, which is going to be, I don't know if you remember back around 2012, Google required that everybody become mobile compliant.
I remember that.
Yeah, and what happened is more people were switching to smartphones, so they wanted them to be smartphone ready, and for iPads as well. Well, now what artificial intelligence does is it talks back and forth between Google and your website. So if Google sends over a lead to your website, they want to know what's going on with that lead. Google only wants one thing, and it's very simple. They want to dominate every search that's ever done on the internet from here until the end of eternity. So they don't want much, just that one thing. And so to get that, they need to know that they are sending the right people to the right places for the right reasons. So, for example, they don't like for somebody to have to do a search to go to a website to do another search, such as Angie's List. What's the other one there? Home Advisor.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a plumber in Bakersfield, they don't want you to type in plumbers in Bakersfield. Then they go to Angie's List. Then you got to type in plumber in Bakersfield. You follow me? Which that's going to hurt in your industry. It's going to hurt the knot. It's going to hurt Wedding Wire. And so, I mean, it's like doing a search to do a search is starting to get dinged by the search engine because they want real local businesses. If you look at the way that the search engines are coming up right now, your search engine result page, and Kyle, if you want to share the screen,
Sure.
Go ahead. You can control it. I'll tell you the search to do.
Okay. 1 second here. Let me pull up Google and
Yep.
then I'll share my screen. Let me close this. And there. Share. Screen 2. Okay. I'm there.
Okay, just go ahead and do a search for a carpet cleaners in Bakersfield.
Okay.
So the way that the way that things come up, you've got ads up on the top. You can have up to 3 ads on the top listings. Those are a paid position, and if you don't know what pay-per-click is, then what it is basically you don't pay to be seen there. You only get paid if somebody clicks on it. Then it costs you money. Now, if you pull down, you get into the Google My Business section. It used to be known as the Google Maps, and you'll notice that they just put in an ad position up at the top. This used to be known as the Google 3-pack, but now it's a Google 4-pack if somebody is paying to have part of their budget into that section. Then you pull down and you've got 10 organic listings. If you pull down there and you'll see like Yelp, for example, they still like Yelp. And the reason why they like Yelp is because of the fact that Yelp does reviews, and reviews are still a big deal. But Cal Carpet Cleaning got themselves up to the top of the list there for a couple of good reasons, and I'll share that with you in a little bit. But then you've got Angie's List, which probably at one point was at the top of the list of the organics. And then as you pull down to the bottom, you have up to 4 more paid positions. So on this page, you can have almost 20 different selections for carpet cleaners in Bakersfield. So how many people are going to go to page 2? Go ahead and raise your hands. Nobody's raising their hands. There's 20 selections there. That's enough. And you see where Home Advisor is already having to start put ads up, paying for ads because of the fact that they're not getting in. They're having to spend some of their money. Google looked at it like this. Now go ahead and do a new search. I want you to search plumbers in Baltimore. Because Google looked at places before you hit enter. Don't hit enter yet. Google looked at it like this. Angie's List, Home Advisor, House.com, Porch, Thumbtack are all spending, they're all getting people to spend money with them. Why aren't they spending money with us? Because we're giving Angie's List, Craigslist, all these places, Angie's List, Home Advisor, all these free listings. And then they go and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars with them. We want that money. So go ahead and click enter. So what they did was they created a new position up at the top of the list where it's called the Google Guarantee. And they just basically just pushed everything down, and then they put those in there, and it's kind of like the Better Homes and Garden seal of approval. And what they're doing is they are guaranteeing that if you hire Supreme Air and Plumbing, you're going to get a good experience with them, and they're going to do what you need to do, or Google will give you $2,000. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think the Supreme Air and Plumbing wants to play around with Google? No, they're going to do everything they can to keep everybody happy and satisfied up to a reasonable point. But you still have every listing underneath there as well. So that's starting. And if you were to look up, let's just go ahead and show you another industry that's being affected. Let's just go Las Vegas to Atlanta. Just type in that search, Las Vegas to Atlanta. And again, Leland, you probably have seen this already, but Google has now gotten into the travel business. And they're going to start giving out referrals based on what they. So there's all kinds of different shopping. Google's getting in there in almost every segment of things, to where they're trying to be more relevant and make more money. They're a money-making organization. So there's a couple things as far as on-page SEO that you should be doing. One of the big things that you should be checking out right now is check your page speed. If you want to go to Page Speed Insights, just do a Google search for that, Kyle. There you go.
The Google site, developers.google.
That's the one, yeah. And this is open for anybody to use. So you guys can check it out and see where page speed matters. So go ahead and type in any one of your listings there, Kyle. And then what Google's going to do, it's going to analyze it based on their generic outcomes. Their IP address hasn't been tested, and it's not going through it. It's their servers, all that stuff. So it's going to tell you, it's going to give you 2 scores. It's going to give you mobile and desktop. Now, fun part about it, if you pull down, it's going to show you where their opportunities are. That's how you can fix all this page speed stuff. You pull down a little bit more, right underneath that is opportunities. And bam, there we go.
Server
Tells you
images.
what to fix and how to fix it to make your site faster.
So pretty much image size seems to be the big one.
Yeah, that's it. And 9 times out of 10, it's that, or it's a JavaScript thing. It's a techie little thing. If you look now, click before, don't leave there. See where it says up there, right below their mobile and desktop.
Gotcha.
I want you to go over and click desktop. Now you see why desktop is so much higher?
Yeah.
10 out of 10 websites are designed on what? Desktop or mobile?
Right, desktop.
Yeah, so you can tell when you're working on it on desktop what's going wrong and what's going right. And so these are all little things that we can be doing right now to fix and to improve and to kind of get a leg up for when things rebound. The other thing I want to point out to you is things are going to rebound. There are still going to be weddings. There are still going to be events. Because simply put, human behavior does not change because of 3 months of a virus. Our behavior is still going to be, we like to eat out, we like to travel, we like to go to shows, we like to do what we like to do that's been developed over the span of our lifetime. So there's still going to be weddings, events, birthdays, quinceañeras. There's still going to be everything that you guys do and that you rely upon for your living. So, I want you to, number 4, look to the future. If you think that this thing is going to start normalizing and start getting back into where the brides are coming back, the girls are coming back, the people are coming back to start scheduling more events with you in 6 months, where do you want to be in 6 months? You've worked hard this far. I mean, Colleen has done a magnificent job of building up her business for 10 years. Does that mean that 3 months is going to affect what happened for 10 years? No. So let's look forward 6 months and say, where do I want to be then? And let's fight like crazy to get there. And I'm telling you, you can, one thing that I know about every person on this call is that you have had to overcome bigger things than this, and you will overcome this. So fight for it. Keep going for it. And then the fifth thing that I'm going to suggest that you do while you've got some downtime, while you've got a moment, do some competitive research. Keep in mind that when you do a search on your IP address, it's going to start remembering you. It's going to start learning you. It's going to start figuring out who you are. So that you might want to start using different devices, pick up your kids' devices, do what you can to try doing your searches from different places at different things. So your IP address is your Wi-Fi, whatever's coming through for your internet provider. So, but your device also can pick up and remember and learn. So
also, Rick, can't you,
Yeah.
and you can tell me if this works or not, but what about going incognito?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can put your settings to private with Google, and then, or if you just want to go to DuckDuckGo, they rely on a lot of the same algorithms that Google does.
Okay. So
Perfect.
let's see here. And by the way, guys, if you have questions, either raise your hand and hold it up until I recognize that you're there, or put it in the chat. But either way, we'll either bring you on or I'll ask the question for you. Just want to see what comes up here. If anybody wants me to do a search for them, I can do that as well. So if somebody looking for a Bakersfield casino, let me take out rentals because that's too obvious. Somebody looking for a casino here in Bakersfield. There's Golden West. There's us. And the casino lady who doesn't do it anymore. Tachi Palace, Golden West, Yelp. Yeah, okay, good. And there we are. Anyways, so just thought I would talk about the incognito part of it.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if anybody has any questions or not, but let me put this out there too. If you want me to do some, I'm happy to get on the phone with you. We can do a private one-on-one Zoom call if you want to look at things on where you're at and just talk. I've got time right now because of the fact that I'm kind of somewhat homebound myself right now. So, but yeah, just Kyle has all my info, and
Yep.
let's figure it out.
Rick, I'll go ahead and when I do the show notes, I will go ahead and share your phone number, your home address. No, I'm kidding. But I'll share your phone number and stuff with them and your email so that they can contact you, as well as anything else that you think you want me to share. Ken, did you
50 bucks?
Go ahead. What's that? What did you say?
I said share about $50 with me.
There you go. Ken, did you have a question? Let me unmute you real quick, or go ahead.
Yeah. No, am I on?
You're on.
Okay. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you very much. This has been very informative. Also, I just wanted to see what just plain DJ incognito would come up on Google.
Gotcha.
I'm just curious because like you said, I go all the time, and so it always shows me up, but I don't think that's really what everybody else sees.
Right. Well, that's what you said. What was the website, Rick? Duck or?
It's Page Speed Insights.
No. We're able to search and get a.
Oh, DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. DUCK.
Yeah.
DuckDuck.
Like Goose, only DuckDuckGo.
.com.
Yeah, and what that came out of the whole idea of people that felt like they were collecting too much data from Google, and they didn't want to be marketed to. And it's like, listen, that's all Google and Facebook are doing is they're marketing to you, and that's what they are. They're money-making organizations, and they make money through marketing. So,
Now I get the duck. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense now. Wonderful. And by the way, everybody, it's gonna take a day or two, but we're gonna review the entire conversation with Rick, and any links that were mentioned will be in the show notes, along with any other insights or anything like that. If you guys have something that you think would make a good part of the show notes, either email it to me after the fact or put it in chat if you think you want to do that as well. So again, any questions out there from anybody? No? We are good. Guys, Rick, first off, thank you so much for all the insight. And I see Blair. Blair has a question. Blair, I'm unmuting you, and you're live, Blair.
I am live. Okay, cool. Thanks. So in doing the page speed insights for the for my web page, came up with some really long delays and like almost 5 seconds and over 7 seconds just to load. I'm currently running through my web page developers page, which should be ported over soon. But is that what kind of speeds work as for reasonable on that? I know from my own experience, if something's taking 5 seconds, it's not happening. We're going elsewhere.
Yeah. The Google standard is 3 seconds or below. That's what they're looking for, and they won't list you if you're 6 seconds or above. Another thing too that's very simple is security certificates. Used to be you needed a security certificate if you were doing any kind of e-commerce, but now, and this happened about 2 years back, Google said nope, everybody has to have a security certificate. So if you don't have a security certificate, again, they're not going to put you on the list. If you're not mobile compliant, if you're not mobile friendly, and if you're not mobile prompt, they won't list you on mobile responses. And it depends on who you ask. Mobile can account for up to 70% of searches. So that's why I talk about the speed so much, because speed matters. Our attention span is about that big or less. And so it's like, if you don't have the speed of 3 seconds or less as a standard, then it needs to be fixed.
Wow.
And who do you recommend to do that?
What's your format of your, what's your website? Is it WordPress or who is it?
I think it's WordPress. Yeah, that's what I set it up in originally. Okay. Although my developer's done it, and the less I have to do with that, the better. I'm an electrical contractor. I just. Yeah. So for WordPress, what would you say?
Yeah, if you're on WordPress, if your guy's not getting the job done, then simply put, I'd go to Fiverr, FIVERR.com, and then type in fix my WordPress site. And the reason why, if you do it on Fiverr, you've got people all around the world that are hungry, and for $10, they'll have it fixed in 24 hours. You've got to give them FTP access and admin rights to it. And they typically will use a WordPress plugin because they're all constantly creating plugins to fix problems on WordPress to be compliant with Google. So that's one thing I like about WordPress. And then you've got to run it through before, take a screenshot, send it to them, because on the screenshot, it will show you the opportunities of what they need to fix. And then you can say, fix these problems. And it usually gets done within 24 hours.
Thanks, Rick. Okay.
Thank you.
Colleen has a question for you. Colleen, I got you online now.
Okay. I'm just curious, Rick, what are some things that we can do to help, additional things that we can do to help our ranking in Google?
Help your rankings on Google. That's a tricky question, because the fact that it used to be on-page SEO was the primary thing that Google was looking for, and that was 4 things. Number one, they wanted to see your title of your page. They wanted to see the meta description. They wanted to see the meta tags, and then they wanted to see the on-page content all match up together. So now what Google is looking for is those 4 things, obviously, and then they're looking for a lot of off-page stuff, such as social bookmarking. They want to see videos out there. They want to see blogs that are pointing back to you. They want to see all these different things that are going on off-page. And the off-page stuff is what's getting really tricky. Now, as I mentioned before, Google prefers local vendors more so than they do Wedding Wire. Like if somebody were to do Wedding Planner in Bakersfield, Wedding Wire might be ranking up there right now. but give it a couple of years. And I think that the local wedding vendor that pays attention and follows the Google rules of doing everything that they can do is going to help. The main thing is just know your role, know who you are and who's searching for you. Meaning, what are your keywords? What matters in your world? What matters? How are you being searched and how are you being found? And they're just looking for good online citizens. You get those first 4 things done on your site, then we can start looking at some of the off-page stuff as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Colleen. Thanks, Rick. Anybody else have a question out there? Ken had a question, but I was able to answer. He asked about where to get security certificates. And locally, bakersfielddomains.com is a site that I set up because of all of the Bridal Association domains that we purchase for the members. So everything on there is as low as they allow me to sell it for, which I think I make 20, 30 cents on things, but that's not why I have the site. So that's a good place to get it, but it's also something I can help you with after the fact, Ken, or anybody else who has questions about security certificates. We have any other questions for Rick?
There was one that came through, and I just read it briefly. It said, will you post the 4 top Google things? Let me go over those again. On-page SEO. You can't swing a dead cat and not find somebody that says, oh, I can do SEO. 9 out of 10 of them are doing on-page SEO. And on the on-page SEO, 4 things. Number 1 is your title of your page. For example, the title of your page is not your business name. Your title of your page is what you want people to be, how you want to be found when people do a search. For example, the title of Colleen's page, you want it to be Wedding Planner in Bakersfield, California, okay, as opposed to Fairy Godmother's wedding planning. Number 2, you need to have a meta description, and that needs to match up. Each of these need to match up somewhat with each other. So Fairy Godmother's Wedding Planning is a wedding planning and event planning company located in Bakersfield, California, serving Kern County, something like that. I'm just spitballing here. And then meta tags are your keywords. So you can have up to 12 of them. And so it can be in your name of your business. Typically, if they're looking for the name of your business, that will come up organically because you're going to have it throughout your website anyhow. So if you're doing a site, if you're doing a search for the name of your business, then you should be able to be found. But it should be wedding planners, wedding planning, event planning, all those different keywords that matter. And then all of that needs to jive with what the consumer can see on your web page, which is on-page stuff. In other words, you can't just have all the stuff behind the scenes and then have none of it on the front page. There's other things such as the speed of the site, such as the domain name. There are, like for example, if you had wedding planner, Bakersfield wedding planning would be better than Fairy Godmothers because people typically don't do a search for that. And then you're going to have so much content on the page. If you have a WordPress site, one of the best plugins out there, it's award-winning. In fact, it's called Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T SEO. And it will tell you, it will give you a little green light, a yellow light, and a red light as far as your SEO based on what you plug in for your keywords. And if you're not sure what to plug in for your keywords, go back to Fiverr and hire a keyword guy to do the analysis for you for $5 or $10. Sorry, I left you all speechless. Everybody's taking notes.
Everybody's taking notes. Everybody's making notes there. And guys, when you're making notes, please share them with me so that I can add them to the show notes after the fact. I appreciate it. And like I said, this is being recorded, so this will turn into a video on YouTube and also into a audio podcast that you can listen to again and again and again in your car. And it's all going to be posted on weddingtalkradio.com. So that's where you can kind of go and find these things. And like I was talking way earlier before we started this whole thing, I'm going to share Colleen's content, and I'm going to share Steven's content and stuff like that. So that way you guys can get that education too and see what's going on out there.
So may I publicly apologize to the person who's transcribing this because I'm speaking so fast? I apologize.
That's okay. I happen to be using Fiverr for that.
Perfect.
So it was and she's done a great job so far. So, I'm going to keep anything I can do to get that information out there, I think is a good thing. So, if there's no more questions for Rick, then we will wrap this part of the conversation up. Anybody have a question that they'd like to ask? Nope. Okay. So Rick, thank you so much. Oh, Valdefi, Alicio does. Alicio, give me a second here. All right, Alicio, you're live. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kyle. It's not a question. I just want to tell you that I appreciate you doing this for us. That's a lot of information that you're giving us. So I appreciate the host, and we appreciate you, Kyle.
Oh, well, thank you, Alicio. I appreciate that a lot. All right. Well, that being said, yeah,
it was my pleasure. Kyle has been there for me for years, and we've been friends. And when Kyle calls, I pick up. So I mean, it's like, because seriously, he's earned that right. And
thank you.
Doing great things over there. May I also say that aside from online, the first thing that you want to do is get them face to face. Now, the best place for you to do that is for just go to Kyle's bridal show that he's doing, because of the fact that bridal shows are still functional, but you got to have a plan for your bridal show, and we could talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll bring you on again. We'll do a whole, maybe about a month before an upcoming bridal show. We'll have a whole talk all about bridal show marketing and some ideas like that. That'd be great, I think.
Yeah, somebody else you talk to is Mark McIntosh. He has 4 big bridal shows that he has done superbly with, and he speaks at Wedding MBA every year. And he's just a font of knowledge. I mean,
I know Mark.
Yeah, he's constantly growing his shows and the attendance and the number of people that participate in it, because they work. And in the way that the buying process goes is that you get more trust face to face. Even though these girls are going to want to text you, and they're going to want to play bride and go seek, which is they'll send you a question.
Bride and go seek. I like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's like, and then they were doing that long before ghosting became a thing, right? But that's what they're doing, is they're ghosting. So I mean, it's like that's just a way, the way of, that's how they are. But it's like, that's why I like bridal shows, because they get to see that you're a real live human being. So
yeah, I agree. There's a lot of benefit to that. And a real quick shout out, Alicia, I'll bring you back on for a second. Him and his wife produce a show here in town as well. So, between the two of us, that's the market here in town, right, Alicia?
That's right, Kyle.
There we go.
But yeah, all right. Anybody else, raise your hand if you have a question, or put it in the chat, and I'll ask it for Lauren if you have a question. All right. Well then, Rick, thank you again so much for being here. Website is it still Get More Brides?
Yeah, I think it's still up.
GetMoreBrides.com. But also, if you have the budget, I would definitely hit Rick up about the stuff that he does with Haibu, because it sounds extremely interesting. And the fact that you're able to redirect somebody, I do have a question about that actually for you. So if somebody, let's say I did a wedding last weekend and I want to get their review. Okay. So I not contact you, obviously it's done through the website, I'm sure, or the dashboard, but I put in their email address and say, okay, that was a great wedding and really love it, and would love to, have you review, or whatever it works out to be. Does it trickle and keep sending it to them till they at least respond, or a certain number of times, or is it like a one and done thing and they have to remember to do it again?
Man, the way that I set it up, it's completely mechanical, to where you do it as many times as you want to do it. But my recommendation is that if you follow this process, to where you call them after they get back from their honeymoon and you check in with them, and then you say, listen, I'd like to send you out. It seemed like you guys had a good time. You had a good time? Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, we loved it. You were awesome. Great. If you don't mind, most of my clients rely on what other clients have said, would you mind saying a few nice things to me? I'll send you a link right now. What email address should I do it on? And then you send that to them, boom, and then you say, did you get that? And it's like, you wait for them to get it, and then you'll get more responses that way. Nothing is foolproof,
Right.
but that's be one of the best ways that you can do it. And again, the reason why we don't get enough reviews is because of the fact that we don't have a mechanism, nor do we ask a lot of times. We just hope that they're going to. And the only thing that they're going to do that is self-motivated is leave us bad reviews, unfortunately.
Right. And that's a way to avoid that, is your service basically avoids that from getting on to your Google listing. Now, is it only that you guys strictly work with Google, or different packages that might cover things like Yelp, or obviously they're a lot less powerful, but Bing or Yahoo or anything like that?
Yeah, candidly, if you're a restaurant, I recommend Yelp. But if you're not a restaurant, I don't recommend Yelp, because of the fact that people don't go to Yelp to look for a plumber, and that becomes another do a search to do a search.
Right.
So we're a Google Premier partner, we're a Bing Premier partner, we're a Yahoo partner. So that covers, I think it's like 95% of the searches. And then we're a Facebook partner, which includes Facebook Marketplace, Messenger, and Instagram, which, by the way, wedding businesses need to be all over Instagram. There's a difference, by the way, between boosting a post and sponsored ads. We manage the sponsored ads. It's kind of like back in the day when Google AdWords first started. You remember you had over on the one side of your screen, you had like, the different ads, and then up at the top you had the major ads. Those were managed by companies like us, and it's the same thing with the sponsored ads. We manage those sponsored ads as well. But boosted ads come across like a sponsored ad, but it doesn't have near the reach. There's about 7 different factors in the boosted ad that makes it different. So it's just saying I boosted an ad and it didn't work. Well, it didn't work for a reason. I can go into great detail on why that is.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm going to, Colleen asked if we could share your email address, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Those of you that want to pull it out of the chat, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll tell you it's getmorebrides@aol.com. And,
and don't judge me because I'm on AOL. It's a 25-year-old email address. So
at least it's not at prodigy.com or so awesome. Again,
great.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And like I said, getmorebrides.com or getmorebrides@aol.com. All that will be in the show notes. I will send out an email to everybody after the fact as well. So you'll have that access to the show notes at weddingtalkradio.com is where you'll be able to get those. So thank you, Rick.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And please, please take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Be safe.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. So